All right, we are almost there. Go back to where we were. Co-host. Okay. I think we should be live in YouTube now.
Yes, we are.
All right, super. All right, let's go ahead. I'm gonna hit record and then you can let everybody in and let's get. All right. Happy Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. I know my days are off a little bit real quick. We will get started here. We've got a few more people in. We got people coming in. We're on YouTube as well and Facebook. So we're gonna get. We got a lot to go through. I got at least. I think I have 3 deals in the deal evaluator. We're gonna share and bring. We'll start with Anthony first because I know he's got one. Hopefully he'll have his uploaded on there. Anthony, if you can hear me and you got your software loaded, we're going to go through his first because he wanted to go through setup on this, and then anybody else has any questions, we can go through that as well. So let me see here. Let me give screen share here. Anthony, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you.
Do you have the ability to share your screen?
We do.
All right, awesome.
You need that. You looking for the deal evaluator?
Yeah, I want to go through your deal in the deal evaluator, answer the questions that you have. You said you're running some issues on how to either process the data or enter the data or analyze the data. So I want to take advantage of that and show this to the group and make sure I get your questions answered.
Yeah, just kind of running through it from start to
Yeah,
finish.
we're going to start at the very beginning and we'll adjust where you have questions with, because this, I mean, I can do it all day long. The reason why we do this is so people can understand what to put in where and what each of the lines means and all that stuff. So you should have, screen share. So if you want to share your screen and pull it up and we can get right into it and, get started.
All right.
All right, super. So, got all these people showing me. I'm trying to block this. I wish I could not see it, but so great. So if you, this is the address here. So can you go to so hit the back arrow on there and you what you do want it to see? No, not I'm sorry, on in the property address box. In the property address box, go to the end of the zip code there and just hit the back because you want it to populate. You want to see the drop down populate and you want it to pop up on the right.
You want to hit
Just
the
go.
delete button?
Just your address is not in there correctly is what the point that I'm trying to make. There you go. Now click on it where the drop down is. Click there and then it'll populate all the information. Okay. So go ahead and something's wrong with the way you have it typed in there. Can you just delete it all the way back to keep going back right there. Now type it in from there. Janelle, hit that right there. Click on it. I know it's right because I have it in my, I've already done it before. I don't know why it's not finding. Go, I think it has to do with the lane. Can you type in the word lane? I don't know what you're doing or what you've done. I've already put it in there, so I know it works. So just hit Liberty Hill, Texas. I don't know why yours is not doing this. Is it Janelle spelled right?
Janelle.
I don't know why it's not doing it right now. It will it uses Google and it uses API. So when it matches, it'll show up in the summary. So just hit space and then return. It's blue as part of the problem. Go back to your zip code, hit a space. Now hit return. No, put it back in there again. Just hit space and then go down a little bit, like down, yeah, go down somewhere else. Get off that cell. And don't put in there. I don't know why yours isn't working. click on that, click on the address now. Hit space bar. I don't know why yours is not pulling up on the summary over there. Because mine did. Just go do me a favor. Go into Google, put the address and copy and paste it from Google and put it in here. Okay. Just go into Google, find the address in there and put it in exactly how Google is. And mine work. I put it, I have the model in there twice. Go down. Go down where it says the address right there. Copy that address just that way, and then go back and put it in there and see if it works. If not, we'll just bypass it. It's not a big deal.
It's in that one, the black one right there.
So drop it in there. I just go ahead and put it.
Does that look right now?
Now you just deleted it. Hit a space and then go to the end. You gotta hit the link right there. It doesn't matter. We can bypass it. It doesn't really matter. Okay. But it should have already populated in there. I mean, mine populated right quick. So I don't know if you got the wrong whatever in there. It doesn't really matter. I don't want to waste any more time on it. So go to the bottom. Let's just leave it in there. Go down, put the what the as is value and the ARV on it. What's the value on this? 475. Is that what we have it listed at? Or is that what it was listed at? Something like that?
It is, this is what, yeah, I think it was 475 originally. That's what it is now with.
Just put it in there. It doesn't matter. I just want to get to the next screen. Okay. This is just for informational purposes only. Okay, go to ARV 475. And since we didn't find this address, and sometimes it doesn't, but I know it worked because I've already seen it. I've already done this one. So go ahead and put 475, and then I think the rent, just put $3,000 in there. It doesn't matter. We're not selling it for a rental. Okay, great. Now go to the next. All right, great. Was this a sub 2 or seller finance?
Seller finance.
Okay, so change that to seller finance, owner financing. Okay, so you haven't put any of this stuff in here yet?
No.
Okay. So go ahead and you gotta go, I gotta put the purchase price in there. What's the what'd you get it under contract for?
366,000.
Okay, put that in there. Okay. I'm assuming that the agent's gonna get paid from the agent, from the seller on this, unless you said something else. I'd put for probably 4,500 in there for closing costs. And scroll down. Man, I get so many people jumped in right now. I can't see them. And then how much is the down payment or cash to seller?
64,000.
64K.
Okay, great. All right, super. So go down to the loan details here. So on the mortgage statement, we need to put all the mortgage data in here. So what's the total payment monthly on this?
You gotta go over to that, the mortgage statement that we have. Which is over there.
Hold on, we gotta pull it up.
We wrote it
So
down.
guys, when you do these and you get stuck, fill this stuff out because the mortgage information is going to change. Okay. So when you come on, just have it already filled in. What we want to do is have it all in there, fix wherever it needs to be fixed, and then solve it for what we need it to be. So the principal and interest isn't going to change. It's always going to be the same on the mortgage statement. The interest rate's not going to change, and we want to make sure all of that's in there first. Okay.
Hey, Nick, it's Ben. At some point, if you've got time, I've got one that's filled out and ready to
Okay.
look at.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we go in and so I want to get through as many of these as we can. So Anthony and Nicole, can you guys go in and get this stuff filled in and then I'll come back to you because Ben will have his and we'll be back in 10 minutes. Is that okay?
Yep.
That way we can get through everything and then what we want, because then we'll work through that way. So Ben, why don't you go ahead and share your screen and let's do the same thing on yours. Okay.
Yep, just gotta find your evaluator here. It's across the screen somewhere.
It's probably the black one at the top there. Let's see. Let's see. Let me remove pen. You should have share privileges too.
I am sharing. Are you not seeing it?
I am not seeing it yet. Let me go back. Make sure.
Is nobody seeing it?
I do not see it. Oh, you know what? I think Anthony, Anthony, can you stop sharing on yours? What's this right here? Is it?
One sec, let me double check here.
You should be seeing a screen that says 612 Lexington.
Oh, there it is. I have it now. Okay, great. Perfect. All right, so we have this up here. Okay, awesome. So we got this and okay, so this is in Independence, Missouri. Okay, so great. So now, Ben, when you go back to the property information, I just show this real quick. Just click on that first tab. So when you put that, go hit the on the left side, the very first one on the top left under progress. Yeah, click there. Just go back to the previous page. Yeah, just click on it. Okay, great. So when you put this address in, did it populate over here where this
It did.
says?
It
It
did.
did, right? That's how, so that's what it was, I was trying to get it to do with Anthony. I don't, very few times does it not do that, but for whatever reason, it did not. So you have this in here. The rearages is does not important. We don't, so can you go, so Ben, you need to take the taxes out on this. The rearages side here, this is on the older version. This only would apply we knew that we're gonna bring that to closing, which is probably not the case. So can you put a 0 in the property taxes up there, Ben? On the arrearages? Okay. So you have in here, rehab cost of 15,000, is that, why, I'm just curious, why did you put that in there? Is that what you think you need to put in there, into the house?
If we want to do a repair either on the roof or the foundation.
Okay, so would you adjust, so you can either do one of two things, you can either put it in there and pay it and then adjust it on your sale price, or you can just adjust your sales price to your buyer upfront. Personally, I would not be doing repairs unless it was something catastrophic that cost me, that prevented me from selling it. And I would just make it a seller concession. So if that's what you want it to be, then so be it, okay?
Okay.
So it's your model, you do what you want. So go to the next. So we get to the next screen here. So deal format, what type of deal is this? Is it sub two or owner finance? Okay, so the seller's gonna carry back. Okay, good. So in here, we got, are you direct the seller on this one?
What do you mean? My direct
You know, are
seller?
you negotiating direct with the seller? Do you have a wholesaler or an agent
Nope,
involved?
nope, it's me.
Okay, super. So you don't have anything in there. Great. Is there any arrearages on this property? Like, do they owe any back taxes or?
Nope.
HOA? Okay, good. Get 3,500 in there. And then how much cash do you need to give the seller on this, if any?
0.
Okay, so you're negotiating this he's gonna carry back. You have nothing at closing and he's gonna give you terms to purchase it, and right down here, is this the correct information? So you're
Yes.
gonna pay him 631 a month at a
Yes.
5.56 and for a 10-year term, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, super. So you've already solved for that. Did you let this solve it, or did you put it in there and this?
I think I actually used the tool to solve it to get, I know my payment is 636, so I'm probably off maybe by a
So all
hair.
you have to do is go put your actual, no, so do it this way. Go put the actual principal and interest payment in there. 636. Just no, don't do that yet. Double click on just double click on there. Then now put in whatever you think the amount's going to be, okay? And then don't solve anything yet, okay? Is the term 10 years,
Yes,
fully amortized?
yes.
Okay, now solve the interest rate. That's the effective interest rate. Now go back and change your total PITI. Just make it a little the same or a little higher. Because the PI doesn't really matter because we're not using it unless we're going to hold it. Okay, now you can go to the next screen. Okay. So now this is your sale price. You think you can get about $3,000 down. Okay. I just assume leave the default on the 2 notes so you don't have to go back and miss something. And then even if you keep the rate and the term the same, it's not going to change anything. So curious, why did you pick 240 months on to your wrap buyer?
Cause I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay, good enough. So you can leave it at 240. The problem with leaving it at 240 versus 360 is that it's going to make the payment higher to the buyer. Now, does it matter in this situation? It may not. So if you wanted to change it to 360, you could change it to 360 and then solve for the payment. Yep, right there. And then didn't change the payment much. We got an extra 10 years out of the from 20 to 30. Go down to the bottom here. So now curious, you have a different first and a second lien interest rate here. Is there a reason why you did that as well? Or did you solve it and you just came up with it?
I just kind of was coming up with it, working to get to a payment. Trying to
Gotcha.
keep.
So what I would do here is I would, so you can do this a couple different ways. Yours is a little bit different because it's a lower price point property and you already got the terms on the front side. For illustration purposes for right now, I would keep the rate and the term the same on the first and second because we haven't got the buyer through underwriting. So I would just change that to 8.75, leave the term at 360, solve for the payment. So the collective total payment between the first and the second on this is going to be roughly for P&I is going to be around $1,100, give or take. Is that where you need it to be, or do you need it to be a little lower than, can you go a little higher?
I think we could go a little higher, and I think I adjusted the.
You don't have taxes because remember the buyer still has to pay taxes and insurance, right? This is just
Yeah, you're right. You're right. No, this is fine.
Okay, so if you needed to change it, you can't change the term, but you could now. My point is, if you could get an extra $200 a month payment out of them, then you could lower the term. So, but we want to keep the term at 360. So let's go to the next. Okay. I always default to third party on acquisition funding because it doesn't really change if it's self or owner financed anyway. Still going to solve it the same. So now the question is, so go ahead and hit the solve payment button real quick there. The first one I'm just want to see if it's going to change a little bit because we changed it. So now the question becomes on this right here, you got, now have you already closed on this one and you're trying to solve it on the back end, or you're negotiating this right
I
now?
have closed on the front end, have the contract done. Yes, for the
Okay.
10-year contract.
Got it. Okay, so you
So
already
now I'm working to put a home buyer in it.
Gotcha. So you're gonna need, so right now, your total acquisition number on the right side, that's the amount of cash that you needed on this deal, is $28,500.
Yeah, where's that number being fed from?
So it's a combination, go back to your property purchase. It's all the stuff in the acquisition cost right here. Okay, go back up to the top.
I don't have anything in the acquisition cost except for 3,500. That's
Where, because you put go back and take out the repairs for the roof. Go back on the first page. Let's zero that out. It shouldn't affect it here, but let's just do it. Okay. And let's hit next. Okay, hit next one more time. Go back to that. Let's see where you might have it in there. Oh, because scroll down. Where is that coming from? Let's see here.
this is
It
the one.
should
This
not
is what I
be-
tried to hit you up on when you were just
Right, so I'm not really sure because I didn't put this information in. Let's go back up to the top for me real quick. Oh, you know why? I know why. Because you're negative. I think you're negative on go to your profit analysis real quick. I bet you that's negative. So you're negative $7,000 in cash now because you're still gonna have to incur closing costs. It could be coming from there. I don't want to put this in and see it myself. Go back to the property purchase for me real quick. So let's just say 58,500. Purchase price. Go down to the bottom. Let me see loan details real quick on the same page. 58,000. Yeah, your total acquisition should not be that.
Everybody drink water.
Drink your water. Thank you, Ben. Let's go back up and let's go back to the top for a second of this page. Let's just type in 58,000 again. I just want to see something here. Okay, cash is closing cost 30. Put 3,500 in there again. Okay, scroll down 0. Yeah, I don't think there's anything there. Go down and hit next. We might just need to rebuild it, because if you change something, go ahead and,
Hey, Nick, I did change something and the numbers, it's like it's hanging on to that old number, so.
it might,
If
so, but
I-
it should have corrected. I don't really know the reason, why, it's doing that. But we would want to, so you know what we can do here? Let's just, let's do
Is
this.
there an easy way for me? Is there an easy way
Yeah,
to?
go back to the property purchase. We're gonna fix it real quick here. How much is your total, how much cash do you, is your total acquisition? Is it just the closing cost? Or is that even zero? 'Cause you've already-
No, I've got about $2,000 wrapped up in this, plus about 1,500 I set aside for closing.
Okay, so how much how much is your total acquisition on this? 5,000?
Probably not even that, but we can
All right.
call it if you want.
So do me a favor, just go down to, go down to other and put negative. Put a negative number in there. Put negative $22,000.
You want negative 25,000, so.
Yeah, do negative 25,000. Okay, now your total acquisition is 3,500. Okay,
Perfect.
okay. So I would go back and rebuild this again, Ben.
Okay,
Okay, just because I don't know why it did that, but something happened. So now you don't have any, now you can solve your payment again. But you're gonna probably self-fund this, I imagine, right? 3,500.
yes.
So that's fine, but you could be a third-party lender. There's not a whole lot here. You're gonna get all this stuff back in. Now what I would probably do is solve this to get this to zero. So I would change, you're paying in this model right now, you're paying 14%. So
Well, and I
personally,
don't
what
need to do a 60-month loan for,
well, what I would personally do, yeah, I just keep changing that. No, click on the payment though. Click on the payment. So change it to 12 and click on the payment, solve the payment. Solve the payment. Yep. So even at 12 months, you can make a $315 payment and still have cash flow. So you could probably go down to 9 months on this thing. Doesn't really matter. It's all your money anyway, but that's not going to work. Do 9. Do 9. That's probably going to be close.
hey, Nick, on the using the tool, so when you're adjusting,
I'm trying to figure, yeah. So what I'm trying to do here personally is I'm less concerned about the deal cash flow because my cost of a capital is 14% in this model. See that? So for example, if you go back, do me a favor, go back and change it to 60 months and solve for the payment again. Let's just say that you borrowed this right here and you only want to make an $81 payment. Okay, so I'm still paying 14% on the money that I borrowed. So that $399 a month that I'm getting, I'm basically taking that as cash, but I'm really paying 14% on it to get it, right? Because I borrowed it, right? So for me personally, I want to get rid of the expensive debt as soon as I can. So 14% is a lot of interest. So the reason what I do is I want to force that down and pay it off as quickly as possible. So if you go back to your 9 months,
I know this is kind of a
solve for your
crazy
payment
example.
again on this, because there's not a lot of money in it. You're still getting a little bit of cash flow monthly, but you're taking the majority of the cash flow and paying off your debt. That's where the 411 payment comes in. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's only because you don't have much money involved in it. If you had $40,000 or $50,000 in it, you'd have to go borrow money, and that's why we want to do it. But what I want to see right here is I don't want to see on a term, if you're buying it with existing debt in place, like a sub 2 deal, I don't want to borrow the money longer than 60 months, the 72 months max. If it's a seller finance deal and I can subordinate the seller into the second lien position, well, then I can make that term 10 or 15 years if I want to. Okay. It just depends, and my rate's going to go down. But in this case, we're good there. So go to the next screen. Okay. So here, if you scroll down to the bottom of this page, what I want you to see are 2 things here. You've got total monthly, the last 2 lines, total monthly cash flow while gap funding is being paid is making $69 a month. And then once it's paid off in 9 months, it goes to a positive cash flow of $481 and 11 cents. Okay, that's the net cash flow on this deal. Okay, which is not a lot of money, but it's a cheap property. You're only paying $58,000 for it, so relative, it's pretty good. So go to your
Well,
profit analysis here, Ben.
What's that?
Go to your next screen. Go down. You can click next. So here's a summary of the deal. Okay, so if you have, when is your what's your how long is your payment on this? Go back to your property purchase.
10 years.
Or do you have any and it's fully amortized in 10 years, right?
It is.
So I would analyze this for 120 months. Okay. So this tells
I need
me
to click
that this-
submit to change that.
what's that?
Can I click the submit button or did I change?
No, it's already been done. So the value of this deal over the 10 years in perpetuity, I'm making the assumption that you got this information in correctly. I would still want you to go back. And now that you know how to do it, input it all in a fresh analyzer, make sure something didn't get tweaked. It shouldn't have, but I just want to make sure. This deal is worth $173,000 over 10 years. And the breakdown of this is you're negative $7,100 cash now because you're gonna you're not getting enough capital coming back in to cover all your closing costs. Now, if you find the buyer yourself, you can take off. This is already built in the cost of marketing, 6%. Well, you're not paying 6%. You're probably keeping it yourself. So that's going to adjust. Remember, this is a forecasting tool. Cash flow is how much cash flow you're going to get. And then in 120 months you're going to have, think of it this way. You have two amortization tables here. In 120 months, how much do you owe your seller?
Zero.
Zero. Okay. How much does your buyer owe you in 120 months? Well, it's $126,000. Okay. Hey, Elvia, if you can hear me, can you do me a favor? Can you send Brett the Zoom link? He's trying to figure out where it is. Brett McCollum.
Hey, so
Thank you.
I click submit, that just saves it, right?
It just saves it. So let me show you a couple of things right here. So yeah, if you click up there where your initials are, okay, and you go to evaluations, this is the only one that you put in there so far, okay? So if you
I did put another one in, so I don't know why I didn't save. So
well, you got to get through the second screen, okay?
Okay.
You don't get through the second screen, it won't save it. So you got to get to the second screen. You can find it here. So this is the actual deal that you have in here right now, okay? So I would go re-input this again, but this is a good deal. Like,
is there a way to print a report off of this to where you
not at this time. You just have to do screenshots or it's all real time inside the software. So unfortunately you can't do it because of the way the security is set up on the front side. But
cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for looking at that.
does that help you out? So that's a good deal. So you just got to make a decision, on these kind of deals of that, what you want to do with it. So
Can you talk about when you talk about doing a wrap? Talk about why are we doing a second wrap versus just all on one note? And
yeah, so that's a great question. So go back to, why don't you share your screen and go back to that again real quick?
I feel like I'm monopolizing the.
No, it's okay. No, that's what we do. And I'm going to get Anthony. I'm going to go to you next. So we've been about 2 minutes. I just want to show him one thing on here. The reason being is this, okay? And I'm not saying that this is the deal to do it on. To go to your property sale for me real quick. When I break it down on the two loans, I'm just going to use for argument's sake, scroll to the, let's just say, for example, so you got a first and a second lien wrap. You could change those ratios in different directions. It doesn't really matter. But let's just say that I wanted the cash out of the deal. I needed cash out of the deal, but I wanted to still stay in it for revenue. I can go sell either one of these two notes. They're different values based on the lien position for dollars, and then I could still stay in the deal. For example, let's just say that I owed, I needed to pay the seller up $90,000. I'm just using a round number here. I could take that $97,000 note, I can go sell it, get the $90,000, pay him off, and I'm still in the deal for $45,000 that I get cash flow from. Whereas if I had one note, I would more than likely have to sell the entire note. And then I get no more cash, so I just get a lump sum of cash. So now, could I sell a partial or hypothecate it? Yes. But for most people that are in the note buying business, it's probably better to break it up this way. It's really
So,
designed
and
more.
is there a percentage that you look at, or is there a certain?
It's much more complex than that. It all has to do with the yield. And we can talk about that later, but the yield
Okay.
is what note buyers are going to buy that for. They're looking at the yield on what their return is going to be on their investment. So that's why the interest rate is very, very important. So most note buyers in today's space are looking for a double-digit return, yield, interest, whatever you want to call it. If you write an 8.75% note, and as a note buyer want 12%, we gotta figure out the value of this note based on an 8.5, on an 8.75.
So somebody might buy that for 35,000 instead of 45,000
exactly.
because of value of
Mhm.
money.
Yep. That's
Got
why
it.
the rate is so important when you do this and you understand how amortization works.
So
All right.
really, if we're doing this other note, we really should be trying to get this interest rate on this short-term note or on the first wrap much higher.
I would. Yeah, I would. If you if you ever have a need or desire to maybe leverage the debt. You mean this situation, you got zero on the front side, so it's not a big deal, but this right here, we would probably make the first lien the bigger note, and then the second lien the smaller note, but we write bigger notes on the second all the time. Doesn't really matter, just depends on what your intent is, okay? So
And
when you get to
it's
the
more
next one,
about
you
where
want to leverage this, if you have that much, you might want to take some of that cash back out. Okay, you might want to partial it, take a loan against it, and take that money because you have all this money tied up in here. You might say, you know what, man, I'd love to have $30,000. So I can go take that $30,000 instead of using my money out of my bank account. I just go leverage the note. Now I got $30,000 here and go do another one of these deals. That's
And-
what that's
And if
how
I were to do that, then all I'm receiving on cash flow is a 763 at that
Yeah.
point, which is
Mhm.
still $100 a month north of where it is. And
Yeah, that's net. Yeah, because you still got your outbound wrap of what's your cost to your seller? 636. Yes. Yeah, so you could sell that first in this example, keep the second. Okay. You probably could sell that first right there for that $45,000 first. You could, let's just say you get 30 for it. Now you got
Yep.
$30,000 cash and you're still cash flowing $100 a month until your note is paid off to your seller in 10 years. But you wrote a 30-year note, right? You wrote a 30-year note. So just go down real quick. And this last thing, go click on your second wrap seller amortization in the bottom right-hand corner there. Go click on that seller wrap, seller bottom right corner, right next to the net. Yeah, click on that. In 10 years, let's say you sold that out. In 10 years, go down 120 months. You got $30,000 for the first note. You paid off your seller. You still are owed $86,000. That's what your borrower still owes you on that.
And if they want to go for some reason and we don't want to hold on to this for the rest of the time, they want to refi it and you want out of the deal, then you just go refi it and they cut you a check for 86.
Yep. If they go sell it, refinance it, pay it off. That's the unpaid principal balance. Yep.
Got it.
All right.
Cool.
All right, Ben.
Thanks.
Let me know. Thanks, Ben. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Anthony, you guys ready to roll?
We might be. Let's
All
check.
right. Let's do this. We're going to make it regardless. All right. You should have screen share. Let's find out where you guys. I just lost you guys. Where are you?
I was able to populate the property in. I don't know what I did, but I was able to get it in there.
Oh, okay. You know, who knows? It could be a hidden, who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, so there it is.
Hey,
Perfect.
Nick, just to be clear, I saw her light some sage.
No, I
So-
did not.
She's doing some voodoo magic in the background and you don't know what it came from. All
These
right,
have
super.
seed sage, so I don't know. What
So
he's talking
let's go at the very beginning.
Okay.
So, property taxes, we don't need to put anything in the arrear. So here, go to the top. So let me see the very top. So you got the address. So we're gonna disregard arrearages on the first page because it's gonna get caught, it's gonna, if it's a wrap or a sub two, it's gonna be on the, it's gonna cover on the neck. So just delete those two numbers for me.
Both
The
of these, the mortgage and
Yeah,
the
just
property.
take them out. Yeah,
Okay.
just delete them. Because they're gonna be covered, we don't want to get double hit on. So scroll down to the bottom. So it gave you an as is value of 430. And what we think what do we think the ARV is? About 450, 475? I had it about 475, so I would put
Yeah.
475.
Did we put 475 in here?
Yeah, let's just put it in there. Okay.
Okay.
Now this is this a sub two deal or a seller finance deal?
It's a seller finance deal.
So there's no mortgage on it, correct?
But no, you know what? So in the deal evaluator, it came up, remember we went through this, it came up as a seller finance deal, but then we did find out that there is a mortgage on it.
Okay.
Why we asked for the
Okay.
mortgage statement.
Oh, that's
so-
right. We saw the mortgage statement. Great.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next screen. Okay, super. So let's just let's solve and see if this is a deal or not. So this is going to be sub two because there's an existing mortgage on it. Okay. And the unpaid principal balance at the very first, does that come from, that should come from the mortgage statement. Okay, that's why we always ask for the mortgage statement. So
Yeah.
what does the mortgage
that's
statement say
pretty-
the current balances do?
So outstanding is 370. So it's about the same, right? There it is right there, 373, 327.
So put the actual number in there. It's a $7,000 difference. We want them, this is why we always ask for a copy of the mortgage statement, because the agent says one thing, the seller says another, but the only one that really matters is what the mortgage statement says. So go into the unpaid balance up there and just change it to whatever the balance is on the mortgage statement. If you double click on, the best thing to do is double click on it and just retype it.
Okay, three.
Okay, perfect. That's good enough. All right,
Okay.
super. So, you don't have anything going to the agent in addition to what the seller's probably paying the agent out of their fees. Is that out of the cash you're getting? Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, because you didn't say that you would pay it, right?
Nope,
Okay,
nope.
because this is a listing. Okay, go down to closing costs. I put 4,500 in there. Okay, and you got cash to seller of 64,000, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. Now let's look at this principal and interest. So go on your mortgage statement. What is the total? What's the, here, I'll add it up. Tell me what the principal and the interest is. I'll add it up. real
I
quick.
did add it. It's 1943.92. So $1,943 and
Is the principal and the interest total, not PITI, just the principal and interest only?
just the principal and interest.
Okay, so that does, it says 1810, because can you change that for me?
Yeah. 19.
And what is the interest rate on the mortgage statement?
4.375.
Okay, so double click on that and change it to 4.375. Double click on it, make sure, there you go. Okay, now go down to remaining term and solve remaining term. So they've had this about 30 months, a little over 2 years, okay? That's how we can make sure that it wasn't a loan modification or something. That seems to be in right. And if you go on the mortgage statement, sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. Does it show a maturity date on it by chance on the mortgage statement? Does it say maturity date like April 2051 or something like that?
Hold on, I'm looking.
It may not. Doesn't matter. We already know what it is. It's 331 months from remaining. Okay. So now we
Yes.
have that in there. So let's go to the next screen.
Yeah, there you go.
So what we're gonna do is solve and see if this is a potential deal or not. So now on the property sale, we got to change the sale price to what we would sell it for on seller financing. So we're selling this thing for what, 475? And
Yeah.
we're gonna double check to see if that's the value here in a second. Let's just put 475 in for right now. And I'll show you what we're using, what I would use to go to solve this.
Okay.
So you've got one note there, so go in and hit, does that make sure that overrode correctly? Hang on one second, so can you hit override on there since we changed it to one night and put the 427,500 in there? Cause that's the finance amount. Okay. So, now we gotta talk about what we're gonna sell this on interest rate for. So I think at this price point of house, I think you're going to need, the deal's not gonna work if you do this at, 9 or 10%. It's gonna be not, people aren't gonna probably buy it. But I think the catch 22 on this, if you make the interest rate too low, you get exposed on a potential due on sale, or if you need to liquidate the note. But if you make it too high, then you're gonna take buyers out of the equation. I'm thinking that you can probably, at this price point, I would say 8.75. That
Okay.
would be the interest rate I would put in there. And then we're gonna solve for it here and see if it even works at 8.75. Go down, don't click it yet. Click on your payment, solve the payment.
Solve it here.
Yep, solve that. Okay, there's your monthly payment on it. Okay, so that's what the buyer would be paying monthly on this. Now let's go to the next screen. Okay, third party, hit next. Okay, so now this is what we were talking about. Since this is a wrap and this is second lien money, the two things that I want for this deal to work for me personally, I'm putting I'm gonna put in probably 15% in 72 months. So go to interest rate first, put in 15% and put 72 months in. This is the worst thing I want to solve for the payment.
Solve up here.
Solve for the payment. Okay, good. So that's pretty close. So it's negative $29 a month cash flow. That means, it doesn't mean we're losing $29. It means it costs us $29 a month to maintain the deal as it sits right now. So far, we're still okay. So let's go. We're going to figure this out and see how close we are to this potentially being a deal. So let's go to next. Okay. So scroll to the bottom. I want to see the bottom two numbers. So it says while gap funding is being deployed or paid back, we have to write a check, $29.21 a month. And after that's paid off, which is in 72 months, our net cash flow goes to $14.19 a month. So right now, this seems like it could be a deal. So let's hit next. And let's see what we got here. Now solve it for, I always solve it for 10 years. So put 120 in there. Okay. So based on this right here, if these numbers are accurate, the cash now is 14,000, cash flow is 66,000, payoff another 94,000. The total profitability on this deal over 10 years in perpetuity, $175,000, 1458 net monthly recurring revenue. So right now this passes all the tests. So now we have to go back and we need to verify this property. We did the financial calculations. Now we need to go back and see value. So copy and paste the address, and we're going to go into Google search and just go into Google and put in Google, and we want to see it come up on realtor.com. So find this address on realtor.com.
Okay, hold on.
Scroll down. It should be one of the top 3 when you do it. Just go put the address in and scroll down till you find it on Realtor. It's easiest.
I think I've already put it in here already. So hold on.
Sorry.
Well, just scroll down. I can see it at the very bottom of your screen, right there. Click on that right there. And the reason why I want to use realtor.com is because it tells me, it gives me 3 sources of data. So it's got 430 in here. Okay, so we got to go see if it's really worth 475. We might be off. So scroll down. Okay, scroll down. There's a couple things I want to see here. First one we're going to stop at is environmental risk. So click on environmental risk. Flood factors minimum. Okay, that's good. We want to have a minimum flood factor. We don't want it to be major or medium. So this, if you click on that little arrow, it's probably going to show as a 1, and it does. Okay, I want to see 4 or less personally. You start getting higher, doesn't mean it's not a deal. It just means you got to have a higher cost of insurance. So that's number 1. Scroll down a little bit more. We're going to go to home value. Go back up. You went too far. Click on home value for me. Click there. Scroll down. So here's the valuation of this property. As you could see, this property was around $500,000 and then took a dip. Why did it take a dip? I don't know. So if you hover that purple line up there on the CoreLogic, you can see at one point it was 515, If you go to, a year before that, it was probably a little bit higher than that. What's that one little dip right there? One more to your left. 482. Okay, so less than a year ago, this was between 480 and 515. Okay. So when I go over to the right and I see go all the way to to today, which is September, it's got it about 423 to 430-ish, okay? Which is right where they have it listed. So that's the first thing I want to do. So we're gonna go back to the model here, and we're gonna probably need to adjust the sale price down to 450 or so. But before we do that, I want you to go find this property. Go to what's the zip code on this? You see it on here? Go back to the top for me. Okay, so now the next scroll down just a hair. It should be right there. 78642. Go to Google. Go to Google and do ZHVI. ZHVI.
B as in boy or V as in Victor?
ZH is in hotel, Victor, Indio,
Okay,
78642. Okay, hit there. So go click on that very first one right there. And then we're going to see where the median. So this is why we do this. Okay. So check this out. So it says the median home price for that zip code is $507,000. Okay. Well, our property is below 500,000. That's the median. So we're below the median, which is super, super important. Now, what doesn't show me on this one, and sometimes it does, is the average days on market for the zip code. I don't think it's down here. Scroll down. Doesn't show it. 39. Let's keep going down. You have all this data right here. Median days depending. Go back up for me. Go right there. Right there. Vail is based on. So it doesn't show it. It would be there for some reason. Look, the median list price was 629. Okay. All this is information, everyone. Okay. That's all that this is. Okay. There's 270 houses for sale in inventory. And there's 39 new listings. Now, our advantage is that we have something that we can sell on terms where they don't have to go get bank financing. So I'm thinking for me, time of year, location, everything. If I'm going to sell this on terms, I need this to be probably closer to the current list price. So go back into your model for me. And we're going to go back to property sale. And I'm going to change this to I'm going to say 440. Remember, we want to model conservative. Can we maybe get 450 or 460 or 470? Yes. Okay. So go scroll down and we need to override that again to 396. 396.
oops, sorry.
Just double click on it. It's just easier. 396. Okay. Go solve the payment again. The last one, solve that. Go to next. We got to resolve these again because we changed the price. Just hit next at the bottom.
Hold on, I gotta move my
Right there at
screen.
the bottom. Next. Your thing might be blocking it. There you
It
go.
is blocking it, so I'm trying to
Yeah.
move it.
Hit next again. And then solve for the payment. Solve for payment. Now you're negative 277. Now we have a problem. Okay, because now you're not going to have enough cash. You're going to have to be writing a check. Doesn't mean it's not a good deal, but do we want to write a check to do this? Probably not. So let's go to profit analysis. You can click on the bottom right there, on the bottom left. Just hit profit analysis. Now it's all the way down to 116. So it passes the total profit test. It passes the monthly recurring revenue test. But the problem with it, we're 277 negative. If you take 277 times 72 months, that means it's a total of $19,000. You only got 13,000 coming back. So you got 6,000. If you take $6,000, which is the difference between what it's going to cost you versus what you come back, and divide it by 72, you're in theory writing a check for $83 a month to do this deal. Would you do that deal for $83 a month? I would not. Okay. So what do you have to do? You have to negotiate something else. So go back to your property purchase. And there's only one variable in here that can be, that's a variable. It's cash to seller.
Okay,
The only variable that there is. Everything else is not gonna change. You gotta change closing costs. You gotta do anything. So the question is, how much do you need to change this to the cash to the seller to make this work? And so I would go in there and I would just change it to $50,000. Okay, so just change it to 50. Okay, go to the bottom, go to the next. We gotta just gonna adjust these again. We're gonna go to acquisition funding. Just click on it on the left side, just click acquisition funding, next one down. Hit next, either one. Okay, solve the payment again. Now that's almost to the dollar. Now this is the deal. Go back and hit next. Let's see just double check the math again. Scroll down. 1171 net after cash flow gap funding. That's a good number. Hit next. Okay. Now it meets my minimum criteria. It meets my $100,000 total profitability, which it does. It's 137,000. It passes my monthly recurring net revenue, which is 800. This is above. I have a cash now positive. And if I go to my acquisition funding, click on acquisition funding. I'm also cash positive. I want to be cash neutral at worst. I'm not excited about the $19 a month for the next 72 months. I am excited about the 130,000. Okay. So right now, this is why we use the software, because now when you go to your property purchase again, go click on property purchase. This is the deal. Because you know why it's off a little bit? Because what did they tell you the unpaid principal balance was when you first started negotiating this deal? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
It was 366.
Okay,
Well, it's 373. That's $7,000 difference. Well, guess where that $7,000 is coming from? It's going to come out of the cash to the seller because the deal doesn't work. And we were still a little bit off. So this is the number. The closing costs are not going to adjust. And this is the number. Scroll down to cash to seller. So for this deal to work, in my opinion, that's the offer. It's $50,000 cash to seller, period. Then this deal works. So even though they offered it to come back at 64,000 because the rate's a little bit high, that's the deal. This is what we just solved the answer for us to be able to stay in this deal. That's probably the number. And honestly, I would probably even go a little bit deeper than 50,000, maybe 45 and see where it is. But the number that's the bare minimum for me to do this deal is $50,000. Because here's what I don't know. Go to property sale. I'm looking for 440. Does that mean I can't sell it for 450? Maybe I can. Well, that's a good deal. What if I could get 8.95% interest? Yeah, so we're solving it. We're forecasting and we're going to solve it for actual. So solve that payment again for me at the bottom there, just to make sure we solved it. We did. Okay, good. That's it. And that's how you use the model, and that's how you use the software to determine if it's a potential deal or not. And once you understand what the levers are, you can literally put this in just a few minutes and solve for it. Now, these are my numbers. You might say, you know what? I'm happy if it's $80,000. Okay, great. Then use $80,000 as your minimum total profitability number. I'm happy with $500 a month in recurring revenue. Great. Use those as your numbers. Just telling you what my numbers are. Okay.
so in order for this to be saved though, like you showed the guy previously, you have to hit submit, but once you
No,
submit,
it's already saved. So if you go back up to the top left corner,
okay,
or top right where your initials are, click on your initials, hit evaluations.
okay,
So you have 2 in here. Okay. So the second one is wrong. So I would just delete that one because you don't really need it there. Because
and
it's
then
the
you
wrong.
can adjust the numbers after it's in here, you can go back in and adjust.
Say that one more time.
You can go back in after, like, I
Sure.
can go into the deal at any time and
Yep.
adjust.
All you do is click on it. Just click on it right there. Click on that just click on it and it
Okay.
pulls it right back up. It's already been saved.
Okay,
Okay. Every time you put it in, it saves it real time.
okay,
Okay. And that's it. If you have multiple, and you can go back and find them. So the other one that's in there is the owner finance is the old one. I would delete that one because the data's wrong. The other thing you can do is there's these little video icons in the top of these pages. If you
Mhm.
click on any of that, it'll give you a video and overview on what the page is and how to utilize the data, or how to input the data. See that little video camera up there, right by the summary in the top right corner?
Yes,
So every page has a video little icon. If you click on, there's a little video that goes for that page specifically, okay?
okay.
All right? Does
So
that
Nick,
answer your questions?
so this now becomes like we have to counter with them, right? So it's like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, they didn't give us the correct information. They said it was 366 and it's really 377.
yeah,
I mean, or 373. It's really, that's a big difference because this is amortized. Okay. It's not a dollar for dollar difference. Okay. It's a substantial difference. Go to property purchase for me real quick. Just go to property purchase. I'm gonna show you one thing real quick. Just hit go back. It'll come back on. You might have to just hit the refresh button at the top there. Okay, go to property purchase. So change this unpaid principal balance to 366. Just type it in, 366. I'm going to show you something. Go down to the bottom. Now solve for remaining term. That's a whole year.
Mhm.
Whole year. Take 12 times $2,800. How much does that come out to be? $33,000. The difference in the unpaid principal balance of $7,000 on this mortgage at this time is equivalent to $33,600. It's not $7,000. It's $33,000. Because that's what you're gonna have to pay in taxes and insurance to get it to even get down to this. Okay? So go back. So by them telling us that number was off, it's really compounded because of amortization. Okay? Yeah, just put that back in there. Okay? All right. Let's see here. Any other questions on this?
do I have more?
No.
No.
Okay, let me check the chat real quick.
Hey, Nick, are there any other tools you would make recommendations about trying to find value of properties that we may not be familiar with in certain? You talked about realtor.com and then the
I mean, there's a
Zillow.
bunch of other ones, I mean, you can use, but that's my favorite one to use. I mean, Zillow can do the same thing. There's a lot of other resources that you can use from. Okay. So let me go to the chat real quick here. How did you get the Zillow screen with the median price, Justin? So just go to, it's just, if you go into Zillow and you put CHVI and then the zip code, like 75282, you just put that in there and then it'll pull that up. Okay. So just go into Google and put ZHVI in there. Okay. All right. Super. All right. Any
You
other?
said ZHBI?
It's in the
ZHBI?
chat. ZHVI, Zillow Home Value Index.
Perfect. Okay, thank
That's what
you.
it stands for. Okay.
Hey, man, and that last bit right there with the true value of a seller being off with their missed information, that was bomb. That was
It's
incredible.
massive.
Dude,
Massive.
that's
People-
like a huge negotiating tool right there. Like, don't let them push you around. That was
You can't because
that was
and
worth the
that's-
hour with you. That was incredible.
Well, I mean, that's why we ask for mortgage statements because
Oh yeah.
even they say, oh, the rate's around 4%. Well, is it 4.2%, which is around 4%, or is it 3.75%, which is also around 4%? Right? And you don't know because the way amortization works, it's not simple compounding. It's not linear. Okay. This is why banks make a crap ton of money because they use amortization. And if you go into an amortization table, it takes, depending on what the rate is of the interest on a 30-year mortgage, if it's a high interest rate, it might take 20, 22, 23 years just to get to a 50-50 piece. It's not people, if you have a mortgage for 30 years, in 10 years doesn't mean you have a third of the mortgage paid off. You might have 5% of the mortgage paid off. Okay. This is the biggest part of it. So when you understand how amortization works and how to be a bank, how to think like a bank and how, to act like the bank, then you can use it to control on the acquisition side and also use it to control on the exit. And then basically what you're doing is arbitraging the deal in the middle. This is why seller financing deals are so much more valuable than sub two deals, because you can put a lot of other factors in. You can control a lot more of the variables that you can't do if somebody already wrote a note with Wells Fargo or Bank of America. You can't change any of that stuff. So, anyway, we're gonna go. If you guys are on the inner circle call, we're jumping on that next. We'll probably do another call next week. I got some other deals I want to go through. Hope this is of value to you guys. If you have any questions, reach out to us inside the Facebook group or send us an email to support, and we're happy to get you going. And if you had any of these deals that you're trying to buy and or sell, let us know if we can help you in any other way. So, guys, have a great week, and we will talk to you guys soon, and enjoy the rest of the day.